What's up, everybody? What's up, honey? What's up, Helen? What's up, Nora? Good to see you guys. Cool. We got some realtors popping in. Good. Good. It's gonna be a good one,
see their faces.
I'm too sick to want to be on camera.
Cool.
Fair enough,
Hold
Tiffany.
on, hold on a bit.
Hey guys, what's happening? I'm gonna jump in here. Glad to see you guys. We got a couple other people popping. Oh my God, Nick Valente is here. This is gonna be awesome. Holy crap. Nick, can you hear me? I think Nick's in like Carolina.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
Where are you at? North Carolina?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, keeping tabs on you. Cool, man. If I need protection when it goes down, I'm still coming to your house, okay?
Yeah, definitely, man. Shit me up.
Glad you're here. Cool. Well, I'm gonna jump in. I'm just gonna jump in. So today's topic today is I feel the need to kind of dive into this. I've held off on this topic because it's kind of like I'm not like a doomsday person, and like I don't like to talk about things until they're like really, really real. But like we have it's time to talk about the market shift, right? Like what I don't love is I don't like you guys can hear me all right, right? Yeah, I don't like the so like you'll see on social media, every realtor and mortgage lender's got like a 1-minute clip on like the market shifting and all this stuff. And most of them don't know what they're talking about. Most of them have never been through a shift. Most of them, I don't know, they've never had a net worth. They've never lost a net worth, right? And so what I feel like is I was talking about the word integrity as like someone that like it is who they say they are, and does what they say they're going to do, right? And I feel like I can kind of be that person talking on this topic, right? Because I was a realtor in 2008. I was a realtor since 2008. And I've seen all that stuff, right? Like I short sold my first house. Like I lost my first house, right? Like that happened, right? Like I was in it. I was a realtor. I like short sold my old house. I'll tell you guys that story one day. But basically what's happening now is things are going to change. And this is going to be, like I said, this is kind of going to be like a serious training, right? But this is what I think a lot of you guys, this is what I think everyone needs to hear, right? And when I'm communicating the stuff to you guys, this is the stuff that I'm talking about with like Robbie at Hatch, Kyle Whistle, like the masterminds I'm going, the people at Zillow, like the people that I'm talking to, this is the stuff that we're talking about. And this is it. So basically, I believe this is a lot of people in our organization, a lot of realtors haven't had a real estate license for more than say 2 years, right? So the market shift, I'm going to call it a market normalization. Okay. I don't love the word shift. I don't really know why. I do know why, because Gary Keller would say the market's going to shift every year and it never did, right? Like what's going to happen now is the market is normalizing. The market of 2020 to 22 was, I'm going to call it exactly what it was. It was like a fake market, right? It was far too easy, right? Frankly, we're just getting back to a very normal market. A market that we're in where a seller is receiving $50,000 over asking. People were giving away like their newborn children, like Netflix subscriptions, like season tickets to the Yankees. Like it was insanity, right? And that stuff is just, I don't think we'll ever see that again. Where we went from was we put a house on the market and literally you couldn't get into it, right? Like we were listing houses we were putting them on the market on Tuesday. We were showing the house until Saturday and then reviewing offers on Sunday. And we were having showing time just fill up in an hour, right? It's like concert tickets. Like you can't even get into it anymore, right? And then what was happening is these houses were receiving a $500,000 house would receive offers for 580, 590, 600, right? That's what was happening. That had never happened before in real estate. I don't believe it'll happen again. Now, what's happening is, what do we have now, right? Like we have sellers. So one thing we have to talk about is we have to talk about managing expectations for sellers. You guys are going to get more listings, right? This is just going to happen, right? There were no listings. New agents weren't getting listings. In the last few weeks, Marla, Dominic, everyone's taking, Ethan, they're all taking listings, right? Like everyone's taking listings. There's going to be more listings. And what has to happen is you have to understand how to speak to a seller, right? So when you sit down with a seller, they're not going to get 30 offers anymore. That's not going to happen. What might happen is their house might be on the market for 3 weeks. It might sell for full price, might not sell over asking. It might sell for $5,000 less. Also, they might have to give some concessions. They might have to pay some closing costs, right? That's a normal market, right? You know, I've been in a buyer's market, I've been in a seller's market, I've been in between, right? And the really cool part is, someone asked me yesterday, like, was it someone, I said the market's changing, and someone in our organization like, is that good or bad? Like, they instantly went to panic, and I get it, right? Like, I'm very open about financial insecurity. It's something that I have to this day. I'm doing kind of all right, and I still have financial insecurity. So I get it, right? But what happens is this, is when you plan and you do the right thing, and you are a resilient motherfucker, nothing can affect you, right? Every market is different, right? So every market's different. You can succeed in every market. So what we want to do is we want to, sellers have to relearn expectations. They have to unlearn whatever, the unfairness of like the last 2 years, right? It was an abnormality. It's just never been here before, right? And yes, I'm looking at notes. I made notes so I could stay on track with you guys today. Now let's talk about why that happened, right? Because people are going to say this. And so my job is to like coach you guys. So you guys are very, very intelligent. You can talk about what's really going on, right? I talked about this when it became a seller's market and it got bonkers. I coached the agents to stop saying the word crazy. Because what would happen is a client would meet an agent and be like, how's the market? They'd be like, oh, crazy. And it just sounded, it's not crazy. What you need to do is you need to have a plan, right? The reason why we got to where we are is basically there's been a housing shortage since 2008. Like since the crash, there's been a housing shortage. There's been a housing crisis in this country since then, because since that downfall, they just weren't building homes. Like new builders are just not building homes. And then what the consumers have been doing and what we've been selling is just eating up the raw inventory from 2008. Very, very low interest rates fueled affordability. There was a lot of FOMO, right? There was this crazy FOMO thing happening in the market, like because no one could get a house. And nobody wanted to like not get a house, right? It's like, oh my God, I need to get a house. And interest rates were super low. 3 years ago, I remember specifically, all I was talking about is everyone should be doing whatever, especially if you're buying in a higher price point, everyone should be doing whatever they need to do to get into a house. If you have to write 30 offers, if you have to stand in line, you should be getting a house, because we're not going to see interest rates at 2.75. I don't know, at least for another 10 years. Like that's what I think, right? Now, also what happened was there was stimmy money everywhere. You guys remember PPP loans, things like this? There was just money everywhere, right? They were just printing money. That's why we have to raise. That's why the interest rates are going up, right? If you understand the way that we can curb inflation is either by printing money or raising rates. And we've printed a lot of money. The definition of a home changed, right? Through COVID, our home became our office, became our vacation spot. Right? People are like, oh, I'm going to get a pool. I'm not going anywhere. I'm getting a pool. I'm on vacation in my backyard. Right? And so the home became something different. And a lot of people, and because those interest rates were so low, so many people were trading up. Like people were in their house that they had been in for 5 years, and between their equity that they could pull out in interest rates, they could move up to the next bigger house. And they're probably paying the same mortgage rate or even less. So they were able to trade up. So everyone was able to kind of move around and get like their dream house. Have you guys ever heard of Airbnb? That thing exploded, right? I have friends that own Tammy Pack in Texas, oversees 300 Airbnbs in Fredericksburg, Texas. She's a baller. I know her. I have her cell phone number, no big deal. But those are houses that like would have been like houses people would live in. And now they're Airbnbs. They're basically like hotels, right? So they're just not available. So just less availability, right? There's also been corporate hedge funds are purchasing. There's been like mass purchases of like residential homes and neighborhoods and things like that. It's still happening. Like hedge funds, like they think they're hedging their bet against inflation on residential real estate. They think that's the best bet right now, by the way. So when you guys are like talking to people like it's a bad time to buy, Warren Buffett doesn't. These guys don't think that it's a bad time to buy real estate, right? Again, I don't want you guys to be, if you're going to say it's okay, it's an okay time to buy, you have to know what you're talking about, right? These realtors someone sent me that meme where it was like the world's ending and it's like realtors, anyone want to buy a house? It was like Will Ferrell, like screaming, like it's accurate, man. And it's pretty funny. So I believe that, I believe that I believe the market's normalizing. This takes about 6 to 12 months to actually happen. And there is one of my notes, there's going to be 3 types of people in 6 months and in 12 months. There's going to be ones that are thriving, there's going to be ones that are barely surviving, and there's going to be ones that are going to get out of the business, right? That's what's going to happen. Would you guys like to hear what it takes to thrive, be one of those people, right? That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Now here's the really, really, really cool thing. Here's the good stuff, right? Here's the really, really good stuff, man. On our real estate team, we are a Zillow Flex team. Zillow's aligned with us. I was just at the very first Zillow Flex mastermind, like in-person mastermind. It was in San Diego. It was for San Diego teams, but of course I snuck my way in there, right? Zillow is doubling, tripling down on Flex. That is what they're leaning into. That's what they're telling their stockholders. They are moving away from market-based pricing. They've just moved into 3 more markets where they took away market-based pricing. You can't buy Zillow leads there, right? So you're either, so you are a Zillow Flex partner or you're not, right? And what they're doing is they are leaning into the Zillow Flex partners that are doing well and helping them grow and move into different areas, right? So the good news is we're number 1 in our market on Zillow Flex, right? Like we are crushing it. And really what's happening now is we're in a really, really special place, man, because Zillow is going, the number of connections are going to be less because they're going to be qualifying these leads at a higher level and they're going to convert faster. So these things are already converting super fast, right? They're already great leads, but they're just going to get better, right? And so number 1, the really good thing is there's technology and there's platforms that are disrupting real estate and we're in bed with them. Like we're friends with them. It's awesome. Number 2, if you're at eXp Realty, we are a cloud-based brokerage with very little fees. It doesn't cost us a lot of money, man. We can pivot, right? Franchises cannot pivot, right? So we can pivot. This is all really, really, really good stuff. The other really good thing is I don't sell houses. I'm just here to help you guys and coach you guys. And I thrived in 2008, 2009, 2010. I was a short sale specialist. I worked with foreclosures. And I crushed, man. I was always holding 20 or 30 listings and it was cool, man. So that's kind of it, man. Oh, and the other thing is we're also a Premier Opcity account, right? So what that looks like is because what we're picking back up off what we're doing on Flex, and Opcity sees what we're doing and they're giving us the higher end leads as well. So that's a really good start. So the cool thing is you guys have a really great foundation already. So if you just answer the phone and take connections and work really, really hard and prospect and follow up, you're probably going to do deals. You're not going to have any trouble, right? But what I wanted to really get into is the 3 outcomes. Those are all really good things. Everyone here is going to be fine as long as you just pick up the phone and go show some houses, stick it out, right? There's 3 outcomes, right? People are going to either thrive, they're going to barely survive, or they're going to get out of the business, right? The shift takes 6 to 12 months to happen. And here's the thing, I'm just going to say this over. It's not good or it's not bad. Like I have thrived in every market that I've ever been in, right? And to be quite honest, the normalized market is where you want to be. It's just normal, right? Like how this seller's market that we just were in, when houses would come on the market, dude, the agents, the onesies, twosies that don't do any business and don't know how to handle 30 offers, like your offers weren't even getting presented. It was like chaos. It was horrible, right? So what's going to happen is it's going to be really, really good. The onesies, twosies. By the way, if anyone doesn't know, the onesies, twosies are the realtors that sell 2 houses every year. And let's be honest, right? The onesies, twosies, those are the ones that make our lives miserable, right, Lauren? The ones that don't know how to do anything are the ones that drive us nuts. The really professional ones that have systems and models and tools and like, yeah, no problem. And they understand how a business works. That's where we're moving to. And I'm going to say it right now, man. This next market correction, I think, is the end of the onesie, twosie, right? The cloud-based real estate companies, the real estate teams, you're either going to be on a real estate team or you're going to run one, right? That's what's going to happen. People are going to start coming together and working together. I don't want to get too far off this, right? But like shift takes about 6 to 12 months. You can figure out where you can be wherever you want to be on this slide, right? yeah, it's not good and it's not bad. You just have to pivot, right?
So when you say like on a slide, are you sharing your screen with us?
No. I meant like
Okay.
a sliding scale.
Got it.
I could have chose a better word, but thank you. So now it's really simple to see what the thrivers are doing and what like the barely surviving people are doing, right? So there's three big things that we're going to talk about today. There's teams that are thriving right now, man, right? And so a friend of ours, his name's Colton Whitney, right? He's in Orange County. Colton's in a luxury market in Orange County, California. Hold on one second. Nuts.
I always like never know what to do at this time. Should I like sing a song? Oh, thank God he's dead.
Having the same dog.
I was about to start singing.
So anyway, that's okay. Dude, this is real life, man. Whatever, dude. I'm doing this in board shorts with the crazy dog. All right, anyway. Colton Whitney's in Orange County. He's in a luxury market. The luxury markets get hit first. He's actually down about, his market is down 40%, 40. Imagine you make $100,000 and then next year you're going to make 40, right? Let's just think about that for a second. Colton's business is up. He's thriving. So in a market, I'm not going to get into why luxury markets get hit first, but you probably get it. Everything starts on the West Coast, right? That's just like everything, fashion trends, music, markets, all this stuff. That's kind of what happens, right? That dude is a friend of ours. He's at EXP. He's a bud. I worked with him at Keller Williams. He helped me out a ton when I moved to California. And damn, I'm glad he's on our side, right? Like that dude is like thriving. And this is what I'm going to talk about, like what his team is doing, right? What other teams are doing, what our friends are doing to survive. It's basically, yeah, it's three things. It's three things. None of it is shocking. None of it's a shiny object. No, there's no silver bullets. And yeah, like I said, it's not going to be surprising. These are some simple, boring things that top producers have turned into daily habits. You know, it all comes down to your daily habits and what you're doing every single day, right? That's really, really it. That's where your results are going to come from. It also has to do with managing your own expectations, and I'm going to get to that. So this is separation season. Between now and a year from now, it's going to look very, very different. And this is a winner take all situation, you guys. Like whoever stays and hangs steals all the market share when the market turns. This is a really fun place to be. So I didn't know any of this in 2008, but I did very well in 2008, 2009, 2010. When the market turned, I was like the only one left standing. I'd helped so many people, and it wasn't 2,000 agents didn't get their license in the last 2 years in Monmouth County. Does that make sense, right? So there was like less of us, and it just my business exploded, right? And that's kind of what happened. So we're in separation season. It's coming, and who here wants to separate themselves from like the barely survivors? Anybody want to like say yes or raise a hand or be like, yeah, dude, yeah, that sounds awesome, bro. Does it sound like I know what I'm talking about, you guys, or should I keep going? Right. So the first thing that you need to be doing, these are like the big three of getting through. So separation season, right? Again, someone asked me like, is this good or bad? I'm making money in whatever market we're in. I'm going to thrive and survive. And by the way, guys, I'm glad you're here. It's super important who you hitch your wagon to, because I'm not scared. I'm not shook. None of those things, right? The first thing that we're going to have to do is you have to be focused on growth, getting better, right? Last night, I probably spent 2 hours on this training, right? Like, and I had to read and watch and re-listen and the seminars that I go through, right? This is basically what I'm talking about is acquisition and improvement of your skills, right? A lot of you aren't role playing. A lot of you aren't practicing. A lot of you aren't reading. A lot of you aren't listening to podcasts. A lot of you aren't studying, right? That's all I do, man. Like you can learn anything on YouTube, anything. This is a time in our life where like, if you want to speak French, it's on YouTube. If you want to like fix your garage door, it's on YouTube, right? If you want to learn, I want to be a soccer coach for my kid, it's on YouTube. Like I don't know anything about soccer, right? Like, but I can go and figure it out. Everybody wants that shiny object, right? Like what's that quick fix, but really who you should really, really, really be afraid of is that person that's getting this much better every day. That person is dangerous, yo. The person that's like reading 15 pages a day, like, you know what? I'm just going to commit I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to journal. I'm going to read 15 pages every morning. That person's frightening. That person is getting incrementally smarter every single day, and they're passing you. They're lapping you, right? And to be quite honest, man, when I walk, man, I don't know, like I walk into a room of people, man, I just recently walked into a room of people I grew up with, and like, they didn't know who I was. They're like, dude, you talk weird. Someone told me I talked weird. They're like, you talk weird. I'm like, is it the cursing? They're like, no, you just sound like, I don't know. Like they said I sounded intelligent. It's because I'm working on myself, right? Like Gil makes fun of me, tells me I went to Brick Township Public Schools or whatever. But it's true, man. Like all my education came from these things, man. Listening to a podcast, like when I'm making dinner for my family, podcast, right? Or I'm listening to Zillow calls if I'm not listening to your damn Zillow calls, right? But like, this is what I'm doing. I'm coaching with someone. I'm meeting with someone. I'm joining a different mastermind, right? That's what's happening, right? I'm talking to smart people. I made a decision in my life. I don't know how long ago this was at this point, but I just made a decision to like just stop hanging out with losers, man. And I like kind of did a friend audit. It was not easy. It was very, very difficult, but it changed my entire life. And now I have a goal. My goal is to be I want to be the dumbest person in every single room that I'm in. I want to be the guy, and this is usually true, where it's like, who's that guy? What's that guy doing here? You know, who invited him? Like, I don't know, I'm just here. You know, like I want to be the dumbest and I want to be the poorest person in the room, because the only place to go is up. So it all comes down to sharpening your skills, getting better, doing more. I would recommend 30 minutes a day. I call it growth time, right? This is what CEOs do, you guys. People that run big, like CEOs of companies, they don't do any work. They just work on themselves every single day. Health, spirituality, learning, history, all this stuff. That's like what they're doing, right? So that's number one, right? Number one, I would say just be working on yourself, man. If you want to know about finance, make sure, you know what's funny, man? I was just talking to I have a wealth coach, right? And we're talking about building wealth. And I'll just share this with you guys. This is like a vulnerable moment. So my wealth building isn't going as fast as my business building, right? Like it's like, so if my business is going like this, wealth building is like slower, it's behind it. He's like, well, what's the problem, Joe? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not good at it. This is what I said. I was like, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not good at it. And he goes, yeah, well, you're really good at running a business, building businesses, coaching, teaching, recruiting. What's going on over there that's not going on over here? Can anybody guess what the difference was between the two things?
Consistency.
Wasn't consistency. Well, kind of. I wasn't. So what I said to my coach was like, oh my God, in all the areas where I'm excelling and crushing, I'm reading, I'm networking, I'm studying, I'm getting on planes, I'm going to seminars, I'm asking for help. I'm asking for help, AKA being vulnerable. I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to do this. Will someone please help me? Like when I need help with something, you can ask Lauren, right? I'm like, find the 3 people that are doing this at the highest level possible, get them on my calendar. And if those people won't meet with me, find the next 3, right? And that's what we're doing. That's how we're getting better. I'm like, you'll hear me say this constantly. I'll be like, I'm the dumbest person on earth. Please teach me how to do this. I promise to bring value back to your life in one way or another. If it's I make you laugh or I buy you a fucking lunch or whatever, I'll bring it back to you. I swear to God, right? And that's kind of what happens. So number 1, focus on growth, getting better, right? You're going to need it, right? Like your neighbor, the market that we're going into, we're going to need it, right? So number 2, you knew this was coming, you guys. Okay. Lead generation, generating leads, right? Number 1, this is simple. You should be clearing out your inbox every day. Your calls, your text messages, your emails, whatever. Like that's pretty simple. And by the way, newsflash, that's not lead generation. That's just doing the shit you're supposed to be doing. That's just talking to the people that are already in your world, right? 60 to 120 minutes every single workday of lead generation. That's 2 hours. So since I started my very first mentor, like in 2015 is when I just like hit, things just went well for me. And the big difference is I got into an office, whether it was Starbucks, whether it was an airport, whether it was Keller Williams, whether it was, I rented in Asbury Park, I rented a room by myself, just working. It was like $500 a month. I just went there by myself, got there at 8 o'clock. I role played for 15 minutes. by the way, newsflash, I usually role played with myself because I couldn't find a role play partner. I'd look in the mirror and role play with myself. And then I would do outbound prospecting for 2 hours, 8:30 to 10:30. And then I would do my follow-ups for an hour. And by noon, I was done. And I did that every single day for years. And after about 60 days, 90 days, this doesn't happen on the first week, by the way. What happens is most people do this for a week and they don't see any results and then they quit. It's like a diet. You ever eat egg whites in the morning and like in the afternoon, you're still fat, right? You're like, I'm going to have ice cream at night, right? Like you have to spend some time on it and it starts to show up. And the crazy thing is when these results start to show up, it becomes addictive. When you see results, it never happen. You ever try to lose weight, then all of a sudden you see the momentum and you're like, holy shit. And then you're riding that momentum to lose the next 5 pounds, the next 10 pounds, whatever that looks like. Or if there's anything in your life that you've caught momentum on and you rode it, it's crazy. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces I've ever seen in my life. And so when you start seeing these results, you're like, oh my God, set an appointment. And then the next day you set an appointment. And then you go on the first appointment, you don't get the listing, but you're like, holy shit, I know what I need to do to get better, to get the next one. And then things start happening, right? And the crazy thing is when you start doing these things, you start getting better, you start getting better, and you start getting crazier. And then you start outgrowing people. It gets addictive, man. And then your life just changes. It's pretty awesome. And it doesn't happen if you don't put in the work, right? So lead generation, a lot of people are like, yo, Zillow, you guys have a massive head start with Zillow Flex and Opcity, right? But besides that, there's people that aren't taking connections. There's people that aren't even answering their phones and they're just like waiting for things to happen. Those are the people that are not, they're probably not going to be here in a year, right? We have a really long runway right now. Everyone here, everyone in our organization, or if you're on this call and you're not in our organization, you're probably talented because I don't really associate myself with non-talented people. You'll be fine if you do what you're supposed to do. And not only that, you're going to thrive because everybody else is not going to, they're not going to do it, right? Lead generation is different than lead follow-up, right? Lead generation is creating. You're creating opportunities, right? I don't know, I'm looking right at Jason Gabriel's face, but Jason went and networked with a lender and he got a business with them and he brought over a ton of leads and he created a deal for him and Jenny, right? Like Maureen went and sat in an open house on Sunday. She shadowed an open house for another agent that's off, and she like pulled 3 people that are getting pre-approved right now. There's 50 people at this open house, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. I could keep Ethan Hine, Jenny hit the phones one day. I don't know if she's here, but she like got a list. She got a listing appointment, Keyport or Keensburg or something. And like Gil went with her, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not picking on her, but like, I don't know if she got back on the phones, but if you did that if you did that open house every Sunday, if you did those calls every day, what would happen, dude? What would start to change? It'd be bonkers, right? You'd be like, move over, Oz. I'm taking over. I'll be like, cool. Tired anyway, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Even if you just at the bare minimum turn on your Opcity for 3 hours and be present, you're going to get connections, right? And if you have the whatever to sort through all the crappy ones and establish yourself as like a real Opcity agent, all you have to do is do it for 90 days and work at it, right? One thing I would focus on, we're not going to talk about this right now, don't come at me or whatever, but like one thing I would focus on, most people aren't going to do this because I've been talking about this, expired, canceled, and withdrawn listings changed my entire life. Gil Olson, 2019, 50 listings. That's how we took 50 listings, right? I would be, and here's the other thing, man. Lead generation, I always quote Jay-Z, right? He says, there's a million ways to get it. Choose one, right? Lead gen, just pick 1 or 2. That's it. Because they will work if you focus on them. If you're like, I'm going to do a farm, I'm going to have a podcast, I'm going to call expireds, I'm going to do, like, it doesn't work, right? Bo Jackson had to pick one, right? I don't know. Bo Jackson kind of did. You guys probably don't even know who Bo Jackson was. When I was a child, there was this football player. Anyway, you got to pick one, right? That's why we talk about, you'll hear me talk about the horse with the blinders. We got to stay focused. Now, I'm going to give you guys some tips here on lead generation. Easy ones, right? Reaching out to friends and family. This always boggled my mind. No one does this. Nobody. They're your friends and family. They're the ones that are like most likely to give you a deal, right? Like Lauren doesn't even lead generate in her friends and family, give her deals, right? Like she's like, they just know like that she's in it, right? She talks to them, but reaching out to friends and family, right? Number one, invite them to some kind of client event. I'm telling you now, Breakfast with Santa is coming up. You might think I'm crazy. Like, dude, I was on a call with Joe Waz talking about Santa. It's going to be here tomorrow, you guys, right? We're going to be drinking eggnog, putting lights on the trees. This is going to be here tomorrow, right? And if you do the things that I'm recommending to do, your January will explode, right? Now, we're doing a food drive. You can invite them to donate to the food drive. I'm not soliciting donations to a food drive. These are just things. The secret about these events is it's a Trojan horse. It's a way for you to talk to people and bring value. It's a Trojan horse. I love the Trojan horse, right? Now you ask an investor for money. You say, hey man, I know you're not lending out money right now, but do you know anybody that would be interested in a deal that I just found? It's a Trojan horse. That person goes like this. Hold on, man. What's the deal? Like when you're recruiting, you're like, hey, I know this role wouldn't be for you. I know this role wouldn't be for you, but do you know anybody that'd be interested in this role? They're like, well, wait a minute. Whoa. Why wouldn't I be interested? You guys see how that works, right? So you basically, hey man, we're doing a food drive, just letting everybody know this is what we're up to, blah, 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 right? We're doing a breakfast with Santa. I just want to invite you guys. Let's smash some munchkins into our face and drink coffee, right? What the point to this whole thing is, we want to bring them opportunity. We want to bring them value. If I can give you one piece of advice when you're calling your friends and family, do not ask for business. The Keller Williams, they were like, the script was, hey, Mike, it's Joe. Remember me? Just giving you a call to remind you that I'm still in real estate. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell or invest in real estate? I'm doing this because I feel like Quagmire. I feel like I'm like a car salesman, right? That's not what we do here, dude. Like we do business because we get in a relationship with people, right? Where I would start there is just make a list of people that know you, like you, and trust you. And we've done everything I'm talking about is a training. And on YouTube, we have a training on it, right? If you want to know how to build a database, if you want to know how to call expireds, right? All the resources are here. So when I talk about growth and getting better, go to our YouTube channel. Be like, yo, Joe has been screaming about shit for years. Like see which ones have the most views or likes or whatever. Oh, here's another good one, right? Reach out to your friends and family and let them know that you're partaking in a contest at your office, right? Mike, what's up? It's Joe. Dude, I'm in a contest in my office. I'm in this new office. It's crazy. It's super fun. What we're doing is the market's kind of nuts. It went here. We don't know if it's going to go down. Interest rates just went up, but I'm in this contest to see who can give out the most home evaluations to their friends and family. Really, that's it, man, right? Give out home evaluations, right? Like go get on that's going to get you talking about real estate, right? Everybody wants to know what their house is worth. There's really cool scripts here, right? Everyone jokes around about this estimate, right? You'd be like, hey man, here's a really great script. Hey Mike, what's up? It's Joe Oz. Dude, I have a contest at my house, man. The contest is this. One, I'm supposed to ask my friends and family. I'm supposed to tell them what Zillow says their house is worth, ask them what they think about it, and then ask them if they want me to give them like a true evaluation on their house just for fun. And I need to sharpen my skills on my CMA skills. And also I needed to get out and call my people. So Zillow says your house is worth 450. How do you feel about that? Well, dude, they're going to talk and talk and talk and talk. And when they're talking, they're going to tell you about their real estate plans, right? Well, we were going to sell and Zillow said it was 500. And then I lost my shoes. And then my neighbor parked his car on my lawn and blah, blah, blah. And you're getting in a relationship. And during that conversation, you're going to be like, cool, man. Well, dude, listen, if anybody else in the neighborhood, that's thinking about making a move. See how this stuff works, guys? It's having conversations, right? And then do a home evaluation and set them up on a drip in the CRM. The CRM that'll send them a monthly update on their neighborhood every single month. You'll stay in front of them. Yo, guys, basically, that's value and you're giving them something. You're not asking for something. The secret to sales moving forward in the future is giving people value, giving them. That's how you're going to get, man. You don't ask for anything from anyone ever, right? Giving and being of service is the only way to get what you want, right? That's why I try to do what I do, right? 1 out of 7 people make a move every year. So if you have 100 people, do the math, right? And each person is usually like 2 transactions, usually a buy and a sell, right? So just do the math. If you have 100 people that know you, like you, and trust you, 1 out of every 7, again, do the math. There's some deals in there, right? Also, I just want to remind everyone, as per the National Association of Realtors, every person knows of 3 real estate transactions every year. Mike, that lives next door to you, he knows 3 people that are going to move. And if you're just talking about real estate, he'll probably give those, dude, give up them referrals, bro. Give it up. It's the rule of reciprocity, right? It works. If you offer, people want to, when you give, people want to give back to you. It's really simple stuff. Yeah, Colton talks about it a lot. Eric Hatch talks about it a lot. And by the way, when they reciprocate, they don't reciprocate by giving you a cup of coffee or whatever, donating your food drive or inviting you to a Santa event or whatever, or doing a home value for you. They reciprocate by giving you a referral, man. That's how they reciprocate, right? Do you ever have somebody do something nice for you and you're like, shit, I gotta do something nice for that guy? You know, like you want to, like, that's what I'm talking about. Another thing you can do is you can when you talk to them, you can offer to set them up on a saved search just for their neighborhood, right? Hey man, just so you don't have to like run to Zillow whenever just so you don't have to like text me every time a sign goes at you nosy dude. Like, just so you don't have to text me every time a sign goes up on your street. Do you want me to just like set up a search so anything that's coming soon or about to hit the market, you can like, you'll know the price? And let's be honest, Bob, you just want to spy on those pictures and make fun of them, right? Yeah, I know. Do you want me to set you up on that search? Cool, no problem. Do this for everybody in your database as a touch, man. And if you haven't built a database yet, these things that I'm giving you are a really good start, right? I don't know if I need to remind you guys, but you work in an organization where you are compensated much higher when you do a Sphere deal, right? So when you generate it, you're making more money too, which is sweet. And I want you guys making more money. That's what I want, right? I want you guys to be financially stable, right? If I can encourage you guys, just stop like when I say these things to you right now, it sounds easy. You guys like to complicate it, right? Stop overcomplicating the stuff. It's super easy, right? Where I see, so I talked about separation season, where I see the separation happening isn't in 2 weeks. It's not the person that decides the lead gen for 2 weeks. It's the person that decides the lead gen for 6 months. In 6 months from now, there's going to be people pulling away. And I know who they are. I see them. I can smell them. I love those people. The person with their head down that comes in the office. I worked in Baltimore. I ran a KW office in Baltimore. I had this dude who would come in. I had this thing where I want to be the first person in the office. So like when the agents came in, like I'm the first person there. And this one dude always beat me into the office, right? He was in the office at 7:30, right? And I tried to get in at 7:30, but I didn't really make it. I usually got in at like 7:45 or 8, right? And when I came in, he couldn't afford a desk. He couldn't afford an office. We would like charge for like an office. And he would just go down in this cubby in the basement and put his headset on and make calls. Yo, he got out of that basement pretty quickly. He was just on the cover of Baltimore, like Real Producers Magazine, right? I still talk to this dude. I would see him and I'd be like, dude, you beat me in the office again. He'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, you're going to be dangerous. Keep doing it. And I would just like, that's what I want to see, man. Like, it's cool. It's like that. If you see someone consistently doing something, it's special, man, because you know they're going to win. If you see that dude just shooting free throws, just practicing free throws, you see someone practicing Spanish, doing whatever, like over, and like you're still doing that thing. You ever see these people? They're upset. You're like, oh my God, they're going to win. Like you just know they're going to win because time on task beats talent every single time, right? So again, man, like I don't see people that are going to win. They don't like pick up the phone once a week. They don't like turn their Obsidian on once a week or twice a week or wait for Zillow calls. Those are not, I'm talking about people that their lives are going to change in 6 months. They're going to have momentum. They're going to have the systems. They're going to have the real estate team. They're going to have the brokerage, the platform, and they're going to have the skills, and they're going to pull away from everybody. I would write this down. Far too many of us are impatient with the results and patient with their actions. I'll say that again, right? There's way too many of you that are impatient with your results and patient with your actions. You need to flip that shit, right? You need to get impatient with your actions and patient with your results. Hope everyone heard that, man. Because everyone's like, Joe, when's it gonna, they come into our organization 3 weeks? They're like, when's it gonna happen? Like, when's what gonna happen? Keep going, keep doing it, right? Results are different for everyone, right? Depending on where you're going. I always make a joke when someone says they got $1 million listing. I'm like, wow, it took me 5 years to get $1 million listing. People like Ethan Hines, people like whoever, dude. Like Ethan took a $900,000 listing on Obsidian. I'm like, wow. It took him 3 months, 4 months, whatever, right? Remember, guys, it's gradual and then it's sudden, right? It's I'm working hard, I'm not seeing any results, I'm working hard, I'm not seeing any results. Then it's like, holy shit, I'm a rock star. That's how it happens. I worked in music when I was a kid, and there's these bands that would explode overnight, right? There was a band called the Gaslight Anthem. They're from New Jersey, right? I just saw them play in LA, right? And I was friends with them, and they exploded overnight, right? They got a record deal, and people that never heard of them were like, where'd this band come from? They exploded overnight. I was like, dude, that band got in a van and they played basements, parking lots, and living rooms for 3 years. These kids, these dirty kids, got in a van and they played wherever they were. They were playing people's houses, bars, whatever, not getting paid, sleeping in the van. Then all of a sudden, they got a major label record deal and they're playing Leeds. They're playing in front of 200,000 people in Leeds. Everyone's like, wow, where'd they come from? It's like, well, we like to call that the underground in the music industry, right? You guys can be underground, right? And then all of a sudden you get the record deal. It's gradual and it's sudden, right? Everyone talks about you don't see the work behind everything, right? You don't see that, dude. Like there's the Rocky thing, right? Like you don't see the 5 a.m. wake ups. You don't see the workouts. You don't see the like meal prep. You don't see whatever. But then you just see like the body or the whatever or the athlete. And it's like, well, how'd you do that? It's like there's a lot that went into that. You know, in social media, it doesn't help, right? We see the results, but we don't see like the years of habits behind it. I spent years cold calling, man. And then I had a team leader come in and take my position when I was at Keller Williams to run the Joe Oz real estate group. And when I left to go to Baltimore, he called me and he was like, dude, so like people just call this office so you can go there and list their house. I was like, yeah. He's like, well, he was flabbergasted, didn't understand. So now the calls were going to his phone because he was the lead listing agent now. And he was like, why is this happening? And I'm like, I don't know, like the last 3 years, I just made calls for 3 hours. 3 years, 3 hours, Monday through Friday. And then all of a sudden, I just became the guy. People are just calling us to go and list their houses. You know, I would say shift proof your business and stop giving a shit about the market, right? A lot of you guys don't do this. Like, I don't have to worry about this with any of you guys. Thank God you guys all have positive attitudes, right? You're not like, well, the market, blah, blah, blah. Like it doesn't matter, right? If you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to win, right? The market will define your conversations. That's it. The way that you talk to people, that's all the market is going to change. It's just the way that you talk to people. The market will define your conversations. It won't define you. It will not define your success if you're a winner, right? If anything, right, be a contrarian, right? Contrarian is it's a person, hold up the definition here, right? A person is a person who opposes or rejects popular opinion, right? This is like Warren Buffett in like 2008 to 2010, right? When everyone was running for the hills, right? He was running to the valleys and he was just buying stuff, right? Buying everything on sale, right? Returns are predicted to be the highest when everyone else thinks they're the lowest. Just remember that, guys, right? And when competition is scared, that's when you leapfrog those jokers, man. Like it's fun, right? It's really fun. Because again, if you hear me talk to someone, like we have a plan, right? Whenever I talk to someone that's like, oh, I'm like, I talked to Ethan yesterday about social media, right? We did like a half hour on social media. He's like, well, I'm trying to, I'm like, dude, what's your plan? He's like, oh, well, when I started like 3 months ago, this was my plan. I'm like, is that still your plan? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, there you go. He's like, oh, That was it. Like you have, and now he's going to create a 135 on his social media. And he's got a plan, and you just follow that plan every day, man. For me, my plan was always just like, how many phone calls can I make in a week? That was it. Because I knew, like shit, man, a lot of you guys, like, I don't know, I'm still staring at Jason. He's probably like the last person to talk on camera or whatever, but like that dude can talk to people, right? So like if Jason just talks to people, also, if Jason can get his CRM organized, it'll be another thing. But like, if he can just talk to people, they'll work with him. He knows the market. He knows what to say. He does the right thing, right? He just needs to talk to people. And for you guys, if you've noticed the last few weeks, I haven't talked to you about answering the phone. I haven't talked to you about scripts. I haven't talked to you about showing houses. Yo, you guys can sell houses. Congratulations. We trained the shit out of you. Now you just got to get organized and you just have to talk to people. And if there's a week like this week, I haven't even really looked, but I assume Zillow connections are down because of the financial market reporting, right? You should be able to get on the phone and call some other people, right? Does that make sense? The last thing is your mindset, right? Like your mindset. And I got to say, man, the people in this organization, you guys' mindset is awesome. Everyone here, and I won't put up with it. If you're like a negative person, if whatever, I just won't, that's another decision I made in my life. Like my mental health, my mental well-being cannot deal with negative, right? I just have to remove you from my life. If I love you, I will definitely lose you, right? The know-how people that I can't do it, the why is this happening to me? It just won't work for me. It's just not a fit, right? Like, I would say as far as mindset goes, I'm just going to touch on a quick couple things. Embrace an abundance mindset over a scarcity mindset, right? There's Jay-Z, man, there's a million ways to get it. Just choose one. When I met Gil, he was like, I don't know, my head was like exploding. And I was like talking about all the different ways to like get leads and get listings. He's like, dude, okay, I get it. We got to concentrate on 3. He's like, dude, you got to call. Because I just see all the opportunity, man. I'm like, oh my God, we can do this. And we can do this. And we can do this. We can do this. He's like, cool, man. We got to just do like 1 or 2 right now. And then him and I just concentrated on like cold calling houses and we took 50 listings, right? Like that's like what happened. Embrace abundance, man. That's it, right? Don't be a victim. What this really means is there's simply more than enough opportunity in the world. That's what abundance means. There's just simply more than enough opportunity for all of you, right? Embrace optimism. Look for the opportunity versus being dropped out by pessimism, right? Like just embrace optimism. Have a growth-oriented mindset versus a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is like this, like, yeah, I know. Like, you ever talk to somebody that you're trying to like, they're like, yeah, I know. Like, you don't know. I know that you don't know, right? Like, and they're like, yeah, I know. Like when I talk to an agent, I'll be like, and again, a lot of this isn't you guys because you guys aren't this way. I coach other agents and I help people at EXP and whatever. I give back to other real estate teams when they need help and things like that. They're like, yeah, I know, I get it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you don't. Because guess what? Your results, your numbers and your results are showing me that you don't get it, right? Growth means learning based. Be vulnerable. Ask for help, right? I'm still staring at Jason, but Jason will be like, I'll criticize Jason, right? Because I care about him. And he'll be like, dude, that was rad, man. Or if he challenges me too, he's like, you know what, can we do it this way? And I'm like, no, this is why. And so like, dude is very vulnerable, right? He's open to criticism, which is really, by the way, criticism is the highest form of love there is. If I don't tell you you have spinach in your teeth when you're on your way to your first date with this person, I don't care about you. If I'm laughing at you like, oh, his zipper's down. Like I don't care about you. But if I care about you, I'm gonna hold you accountable, right? So the difference is being open to criticism versus not moving towards the truth, right? Always be moving towards the truth. The most important conversation that you're having, the most important conversation that we're having every single day is the conversation we're having with ourselves, right? Are we being kind to ourselves, right? Are you being nice to yourself, right? Are you saying, yeah, we can do this, it's fine, whatever, we're going to do this. It's not, how can I do this? It's like, I am going to do it. It's not like, yo, I can't do that. It's like, yo, how can I do that? I'm going to go figure it out, right? So just think about, like, as I leave you guys today, man, I usually don't do this, like, I don't know, it's turned into like kind of like a motivational kind of thing. This isn't really what I normally do, right? I'm more of like a tactical person, but I think this is what a lot of you guys need to hear right now. And it's not just you. I talk to a lot of realtors. I talk to a lot of teams. I get coached by a lot of people. I'm constantly learning. be aware of your conversation you're having with yourself. Listen to your soundtrack. Are you being nice to yourself, right? Be nice to yourself. Is your soundtrack kind? Is it true? Is your soundtrack true? Are you really poor? Can you really not do it? Can you really not find time to make 200 phone calls? Do you really not have a sphere? You know, like, is it true? Is your soundtrack true? Is your soundtrack broken? Right? Is your soundtrack broken? Is it fucking broken, man? Is it not work? Right? Because sometimes mine is, you guys. Sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, why am I telling myself this? This is something we can do, right? And then that's usually when I get vulnerable and I ask for help. Maybe we re-record our soundtrack, you know? Maybe we decide like, hey, I don't like the soundtrack. I don't like the recording. I don't like what it's saying. Maybe I'm gonna re-record this thing, right? And I think one of the bravest things that you can do is like reevaluate your soundtrack, right? How you're talking to yourself and what you're doing, because it's super cliche, but like whether you can or you can't, you're right. And what's dangerous is I think people don't, we're not afraid of what we can't do. We're afraid of what we can do. Because when we really, really look deep inside, we really realize as humans, we're resilient and we have the most potential and we can do whatever we want to do. But when we have to actually do what it takes to do the thing that we want to do, we get scared and we stop because that's easier. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I believe everyone on this call is going to thrive. I believe everyone is going to thrive through this market, right? Through its separation season. And I didn't want to say this shit till I thought it was really necessary. It's necessary. Okay. Interest rate, read your market reports, get your morning brew reports in your email. I don't know what's going on between Russia and the EU. They're cutting off gas lines. That shit could collapse. Interest rates went over 7%. So, dude, get resilient. The cool part is everyone needs a house, man. Everybody needs a house. And it's way smarter to own a house than to rent one. And also like, the hedge funds and all these people and really corporate America, dude, they want to own all the houses. Like they want us to rent from them, right? So like the smartest thing that you can do is just go and buy houses, man, and own that stuff because it's going to get more and more valuable. We have a couple minutes here. Any questions, any comments? Anybody want to throw anything? I did not look at the chat. I kind of was just like reading my notes. If Gil's on here, he probably has something to say. He's going to be like, yeah, dude. Yeah.
This is the time of year that happens. Like you could say like, oh, like for the new year, but you think that it's the new year. The part that stood out for me is like Christmas will be here tomorrow. That's 100% true. Because next week is October. All of a sudden it's Thanksgiving and then it's Christmas 5 days later is what it feels like. And this is the time that everybody else goes to sleep and quits and enjoys whatever happened this year and just kind of chills. And this is exactly when we just started. Like, I don't know the exact date, but it was right around now where we like actually started to get on the phone. It was essentially the first week of October that we like really committed to doing that. And I think we took 1 or 2 listings in the fall, maybe 3. And, but we like started the first week of January with 4. So it was all the lead up. You're going to get a lot of probably people like, oh, we're going to like enjoy the holidays and get through the new year. And that's awesome because you can start your year with that week being a banger if you actually do it right. And business still happens especially on the buy side. If somebody has to buy a house, and a lot of people do, you can have your pick of the litter in this time of year. So there's advantages to shopping through the holidays and listing in the holidays, but a lot of people will just naturally wait till the end of the year and then be more prepared to sell their house in the beginning of the year. And that's an awesome way to jumpstart your entire year, because then what happens is when you are consistently prospecting and you're making the same phone calls to the same people that any other agent that's doing that is doing it, you have the differentiator where you'd be like, I just took 4 listings last week, and this is what's happening with those properties. And you like sound busy, and you are busy, and you know the market, and you see what's happening, you have other buyers, and you have success. It sets up your momentum for the entire year.
That's right.
That's all I gotta say about that.
Cool, guys. You guys get some value out of this? Should I do this again? Should I just yell at you guys about the database?
Yo, if you have an RSVP to the food drive pickup tomorrow, do that ASAP. go into your calendar invite and RSVP for Lauren. Thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you're doing, and ideally it's thumbs up.
Thanks,
Otherwise, the children of Monmouth County are going to starve to death, and it's your fault.
Or it'll cut off your lead funnel, you'll starve. Psych. Yeah, just kidding. All right, thanks, guys. I hope you guys got some value out of that. I like to
All
do
right,
this. with my
thanks, Jeff.
microphone. Bye.